Solomon King. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Hold on a sec. Let me cause I'm up in here, man. I'm out and about, sort of. And today is not my day to do this. I don't never do a live or broadcast on a Sabbath because I don't think that a lot of my topics relate to scriptures enough, for me to do that. So, but I'm in the back seat here, y'all. Just ignore the back. Whatever. I got shit in the back. But we're going to go ahead and get this topic out the way because I've been letting this drag on for about a week now, dealing with family matters. So, yeah, let me go ahead and get this in. Boom. All right. We still coming in clear. I'll just put this mic in. But my thing is this, right? Today is the day, right? We need to go ahead and get this live stream out of the way. I kind of am looking at different platforms to use to go live with. This last platform, the microphones that I typically use don't really work well with it. So I'm gonna try a different platform and see if that one works better with the microphones that I use, or else I may have to purchase maybe some Bluetooth mics or something like that. That'll probably work with that particular platform, which I enjoyed it. I actually like it. One thing that I'm actually focusing on as well, because we're going to be getting the office here coming up soon in July, so I'm looking forward to doing that. Getting the office set up done, so I don't have to worry about shooting from like a room or shooting from, you know what I mean, from other places. Like right now, I'm shooting from the car because I'm out about 40 minutes away from my location. However, we're going to go ahead and dive into this topic. Now, what we're going to be talking about today is something that I think is really important, not only to the poly community or the polygynists out here, but it's really important to the culture of Hebrew culture, and also the culture of just of Muslim faith and things. People who believe in multiple wives, believe in the benefits of having more than one, things like that. But the culture behind it is what we're going after, because we already know what the facts and the truth are, and the facts and the truth trump anything when it comes to an opinion, right? So one thing, right, is I'm going to play the video for whatever podcast, and I believe Andrew Wilson was speaking about, of course, polygamy, and speaking about it in a way as to where it's not very beneficial, and that also in different various countries, that monogamy may be being more successful than polygyny, right, or polygamy. Which I totally disagree. Now he's arguing back and forth with a young lady, and honestly, tell you the truth, on the whatever podcast, if you guys watch anything that comes from them, I just watch it just because some of their points that they're making is based on morality, right, and biblical morality. And a lot of times they come from that angle, so I respect that angle. And don't get me wrong, Andrew Wilson, I do respect his opinion on a lot of other topics, just not this one. Okay. I just don't believe that he is, I guess, qualified to speak on it, because I don't believe that he's actually uh, got into it. I don't think that he's actually even really did a whole lot of research on it just based on what he's saying. Oh, do I? Man, good looking out, bro. You sure? Mm, okay. Man, am I good? Look at bros. I hate to keep okay. Either way, hopefully I'm good. Hopefully I'm good. I'm not, because I don't see it from the camera. Fell on my shirt. Bro, this nigga funny as hell. How'd you even see that, man? I can't even see it in the camera. All right, man. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you, man. Good looking out, bro. So yeah, at least as long as it's out of there, you know what I'm saying. You can't be looking crazy. But yeah, so where was I? Okay, so Andrew, you funny. And so Andrew, right? Andrew Wilson respects his thoughts on many different angles, right? Um, my thing is that from I guess dad, I don't know what you mean, but either way, anyway. So my thing is this, right? Is that when he speaks on other topics, he can be very on point, but on this particular topic that he spoke on, not on point at all. I think his question was, how does polygamy uh, create a more happy or successful relationship? I'm just going to paraphrase it, right? Um, yeah. Anything can stop a chat. Yeah. So, what you mean by that? But but a happier, successful relationship compared to monogamy in other countries. How? Like what, what in what country is polygamy successful in creating a happy relationship or happy marriage, whatnot? I'm just gonna paraphrase it. That's along the lines of what he was asking about, right? And in this particular setting. And like I said, I'm gonna post another video with the clip in it as well, after this live stream. And you can also go check it out over on whatever podcast. But, the young lady who's speaking about it or addressed it, right? Addressed the topic. She had a hard time with answering the question. In fact, she gave a runaround quite a few times and just said that Switzerland was one of the countries who had it, I guess, legalized is what she was trying to get at, or it was a norm, which, she wasn't wrong, but she it's just hard for her to difficult to answer the question. So obviously, I'm here to address it. I'm going to answer his question to best of my ability, right? And all of these things that I'm going to address, you can definitely look it up on Google. You can research it on Google, whatever you like to do. You can actually find a lot of these answers on Google. So not only that, of course, if you read throughout the scriptures, this is the oldest text that we can find, right? Some of the oldest texts that actually speaks about being in that style of relationship, and how it was actually permitted and condoned by the Most High. And it was something that was just a way of life, at one point. So now it has changed. It has been a thing where it's been pushed. I mean, you can say what Disney, Disney, other movies, things like that push like this ideology of monogamy being this the relationship style, right? And that women should be jealous of any woman who wants to have or to be with her man, right? They should be jealous or take a position of jealousy, not jealousy to where they're motivated, right, to do better in his life, but jealousy to where they're envious of the other woman. And so I think that society has given women something to be, I guess, brainwashed by, right? Or it's been instilled in them. It's been a teaching about it, right? It's been something that really gave them that they gave it to them. They gave them that emotion. They taught them how to be that way, right? It wasn't a thing as to where they had to learn it. They had to learn this. It wasn't something that was from birth, or that was, this is a natural thing for human beings. Um Posted a reel not long ago to where, of course, the culture was for multiple, men to have multiple women. That was the culture, right? And you go look in the Bible, you go look in the scriptures, you read it. A lot of the major patriarchs had multiple wives, had multiple concubines. A lot of them practiced polygyny. So of course that was the culture. That was the way of life, and it really changed when you start to get more of a westernized society, when you started to, of course, the same way that they have systematically taught you that growing your own food, that raising your own cattle was something that was not permitted, and even passed laws to prohibit you from doing so. It's the same thing when they see you with practicing polygyny. That right there builds nations. It builds strong family units and strong family structures. Even if you do have inflation in the country, that right there could be an answer to being able to come together and pull your resources together, is an answer to inflation, to things that they wish to impose upon you to increase prices and stuff like that. So that way you're spending more money on a day to day, right? um you will have an opportunity to have a nice tribe of people who can come together, work together, and be able to be successful throughout life. So it's like, why would they not want to outlaw something that's going to build nations? Because all the tribes of Judah came from a polygyny style marriage. You know what I mean? So and that was a strong nation of people. He birthed a strong nation of people. So all the 12 tribes. So, why not outlaw it? Why not say, hey, this thing should be illegal or whatnot? We're not going to accept it or receive it as a relationship or marriage style, even though we are more than happy with you marrying your own kind, like a man marrying another man or a woman marrying another. You know what I mean? The same sex. We are totally fine with you marrying the same sex, but we are not okay with you doing polygyny and a man having multiple wives. That is something that they don't want to recognize, and it's not okay in Western society, right? And sometimes you got to ask yourself, okay, why is that? You know what I mean? Like, we can take a look at, I mean, the same sex, right, being able to be married, and now it's so to the point to where you don't really hear about it anymore. Before, people were outraged, but now you just don't really hear about it, right? To taking it to a point is to where, polygyny is now is out, still outlawed and still not recognized amongst countries, the vast amount of countries, right? Now, Andrew Wilson, in his question of what countries actually are successful in polygyny and have created happy households. Now I'm paraphrasing the question. Um, I would say, and I would answer the question and say that in the continent of Africa, the country of Nigeria, the country of Niger, the country of those two countries there, Zimbabwe, I believe, was one of them as well. But they're called the polygamy belt. You know what I mean? And it's various amount of different countries in the continent of Africa that practice polygamy, and that is a normal marriage or style of marriage for them. You know what I mean? So, and if we take a look at the marriage and divorce rates, of course, the rates is in a monogamous household, it's a 68% divorce rate, as to whereas in a polygamy household, it is a 55% divorce rate. So this is total difference, right? Total difference there in divorce rates. I would take a 55% over a 68% any day. Those odds are the it's a huge difference. You know what I mean? And so when we say that, right, we can also say that based on those numbers, happiness is going to be with the polygyny style relationship, just based on it being a lower percentage of divorce rates. Now, once we go and take a look at the charts for like marriage and divorce percentages throughout all countries, right, throughout all continents, all countries, between all continent countries, right, we say China is going to be number one on that list, for divorce rates. They have the highest amount of divorce rates, as to where number two is the US so far, as to what the studies was saying last I checked. um, and a lot of the countries that come from the polygamy belt has not made the list, or they are very low on that list to where it's like, okay, it's almost non-existent. You don't really see a whole lot of divorces. And that's another thing that speaks to the level of happiness that these relationships produce, right? The level of happiness that these relationships produce obviously is based on the numbers, based on the percentages. Whatever the data that they were able to collect on marriage and divorce, when it came to monogamous relationships, that's what we gotta hold tight to. Not only that, when we talk about a higher power, when we talk about the Most High, right, who condones that style of relationship just based on various different scriptures that where he supports a man taking on multiple women, if he's eligible, if he's capable, just based on the woman's protection and the woman needing to be protected, right, or having a covering, or being covered. Those are some of the biggest things. So when we talk about different countries, of course, and, they mentioned Switzerland. Switzerland, of course, yeah, there are laws under the civil laws for Switzerland, I believe, that is outlawing polygamy, but also under different laws, polygamy is just a way of life, right? They recognize it as a relationship style. Same thing in Australia. In certain cities within Australia, it also recognizes polygamy as a relationship style. But it outlaws it through the civil law. It outlaws it to where, of course, they don't really say it's legal. So there's different countries that do not have high divorce rates, that recognize the relationship style, and that have success in the home, right? So uh, those are some of the answers. Now, when I say that Andrew Wilson doesn't know a whole lot about this particular topic, I'm sure that he may know a little bit more than what I would know, but I'm sure he doesn't have firsthand experience. And it would be easy for him to make a determination like this, or come to this conclusion that I've come to, that since these countries that I named that's in the polygamy belt, like Niger, Nigeria, things like that, since they do not have high divorce rates, and they don't really make the list for divorce rates like the US and other European or westernized countries, then of course that automatically equates to happier homes, happier relationships, happier styles of relationship. Whereas to where, of course, the polygamy belt with Nigeria, Niger, Zimbabwe, I believe, is a part of that list as well. There's a few other countries that's on that list that's from the continent of Africa. Um, they are they never really make the list for divorce rates. Is it the primary relationship style or marriage style in those? It is very, very well known in those areas, and I believe that they would make that the primary relationship style, especially amongst the Muslim community. So the Muslim community, of course, is going to have it 100%. That's the way that they see life. Now, of course, even then, they're still kind of being infiltrated a little bit, right? Because you got some women who still are like saying, "Hey, I don't want this for my life," like, and they can be able to write that as a stipulation within their contract for marriage in the Muslim culture. Um, but the men are already obligated, or already have a mindset that they may want multiple women, right? So that's the biggest thing. And any state or any country that has a primarily Muslim culture would be looking at polygamy as or polygyny as the primary marriage style, right? So you got different countries like you got India, you got Iran, Iraq, things like that. They do observe polygyny. Now when he says something like this, right, that's doing better or doing good or better than a Western society, it's like I'm trying to, like, do you mean better? Like, what is his definition of better, right? What's his definition of better? Is better going to be economically? Is it relationship wise? Is it what is it? You know what I mean? What is it? Is it socially? better type of country, because Nigeria has a really nice infrastructure, right? Nigeria, the country of Nigeria, is a decently wealthy company or country. And I'm not saying that they're more wealthy than the US at this moment. I'm just saying that they do well, right? They do pretty good. So if we're talking economically, then economically doesn't really equate to relationship. It don't really add up to marriage, right? So just because the country is not as developed as the US, don't mean that we need to have a mindset of, that country don't that country don't count. It don't count because they don't have the resources that the US has. But we're not talking about resources, we're talking about relationship. We're talking about marriage. This is what we're speaking about. So, the way that, he pressed on her, and let me be honest, like on these podcasts, when they invite these women, these OF models and things like that, let's be real, let's keep it 100. These women could barely form a sentence, right? These women, their IQ is low. You know what I mean? They're not going to be able to articulate certain things. And a lot of them don't have a clue. Like, honestly, they really don't know. So when they're being asked intellectual questions, because, of course, the guy, the kid asked the one of them, oh, can you name 10 books? And then she can't even name 10 books. You know what I'm saying? And then another one asked, oh, how many countries are there? Or can you name a few countries? And she goes off and start naming different cities like Paris. You know what I mean? Like we got to understand who we're dealing with when you're listening into a podcast that brings on a panel of women who do sex work. You feel me? Online, on OnlyFans, and how these women and their morality and their state of mind, they may not be qualified to be in speaking on anything that has any intellectual base or substance to it. They're not qualified to speak on them. They're qualified to speak about what they do. But when you ask them questions like what countries are, have better stats or are happier in these areas when it comes to this type of relationship style of polygamy, they're not going to be able to answer that question. And right off the bat, when she named out Switzerland, I already knew she heard that from somebody else. She didn't go do her own due diligence. She's never actually done any research on it. And, because she just named it off. She just like Switzerland. Well, I got friends in Switzerland who's saying this, that, and the third, A, B, and C, and D. Well, the guidelines in Switzerland are different. You know what I mean? Like she didn't actually do the homework. She didn't actually do the groundwork, the footwork to actually understand what she's talking about. So that's why I'm saying that you shouldn't speak about it if you don't know enough about it. If you don't know enough about it, don't talk about it. Just leave it to people who actually know a little something about it. And if you don't know, it's okay to not know. Just say that you don't know. People respect it more when you are letting them know, like, hey, I'm not too sure about that. But what she goes on to do is she goes to give a runaround and not actually fully answer the question. And of course, that's going to be the major problem, right? Because he's going to think, okay, victory is mine. You know what I mean? You can't even answer the question, when truly she just don't know because she's never actually did the research. She never actually went into trying to figure it out for herself to where she can be able to rebut a question that's like that one, right? And for anybody who's just dropping in, we're talking about the Whatever Podcast, and we're talking about Andrew Wilson and his response on polygamy, or his question on polygamy, and him debating with, I believe, what they refer to as a single mother, right? They refer to her as a single mother. Whatever. But it's a young lady, it's a woman. I believe she's a sex worker, or she does OnlyFans or something like that. And she proceeds to try to answer the question, but she doesn't answer it effectively because she don't know. You know what I mean? She just hear what a friend said over in Switzerland and proceed to try to answer the question based on that. And she's giving a runaround on the question and not going straight down the middle. Which if you don't, like I said, if you don't know enough about it, say you don't know. And if you don't know enough about it, if you speak on it for a little bit, let them know, hey, I'm not too sure about it because I haven't done the research myself, right? Luckily, I have. Now, a lot of this information we're going to be dropping in because I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it into a video and put it out there. But I just really wanted to get this episode locked in, right? Because the last time we tried this, I believe that I was at the hospital and it was cutting in and out, and I just didn't like the audio was kind of interesting. Audio was kind of messed up. So I wanted to go ahead and address a lot of things coming from Andrew Wilson. On this particular matter. Now, like I said, I typically don't do anything on today as far as live streams or anything like that. Either then, it's a little bit later in the day now. It's a little bit more. Sun's going down a bit, so we're gonna go ahead and get into it. My thing is that when we speak about different countries and their level of success in relationships, we can literally point out any country that is not a westernized country, and their marriage and divorce rates are going to be much better, right, than it would be in a Western culture, right? And is it sad? Yeah, it's a little sad. But also, what is also sad, right? What is also something that's just like, how do people not see this is that any marriage that takes place in monogamy, not only in the US but any other Europe or anything, a lot of them are unsuccessful just based on infidelity, and also of course finances. Those two things usually are the reasons why. Now, infidelity, of course, is just based on dishonesty. So you cheated on your wife, right? You had an affair. An affair is a dishonor of a contract. Your contract with this woman to be faithful to her and her only, right? Well, if you were to have been honest up front, right, as to who you were as a man, and your contract was more of a poly or polygyny style contract, then you don't have cheating. You don't have that level of dishonesty, right? You have a baseline of truth, of honesty that you can build upon, right? If of course, the man as being the leader and leading that woman and those women into that honesty, being transparent, being able to come and talk to each other. I believe that it keeps way more control over the divorce rates and also the level of happiness and contentment within a relationship by doing it that way. And I think that most men need to just come on out the closet, so to speak, right? Come on out the closet, man. Don't no, not on no on no Diddy shit, but come out the closet, man, on being honest about who you truly are as a man. You know what I'm saying? Who you really are and what your biological makeup is. That way we can save more people, more women, more men, the heartache, right? The trauma, like, just be honest about who you are. If you know that slept around on your last baby mama, why are you getting into this relationship thinking that, and having this girl think that you're going to be committed to her and her only, and you giving her and feeding her all this bullshit, but you know for sure that you're not a monogamous person. You're not a person who's going to commit to just one woman. You're going to want to uh you're going to want to have more than one, right? And I believe, some men, they just like the thrill of potentially getting caught, right? Or having to sneak around. I don't know if it's that. You know what I mean? I believe that, maybe that's one of the biggest things is that some men really enjoy being able to sneak around and not get caught or whatever. Women as well. Women are guilty of it too. Some of them just have a thrill of sneaking around, sleeping around with people, and with the potential that they may get caught for doing this, which you know that right there is dangerous all on its own for people who are honest people and just looking to commit to one person. It's dangerous. You're playing with a lot of people's emotions, and it never ends well. It's never a good thing. You got to be more mature than that in understanding that that's not all That's not what it is. That's not what it's cracked up to be. And you shouldn't want to play and toy with people's emotions like that. But I believe that's another reason why men aren't really upfront or honest about their nature, or who they truly are. Now, hopefully, I was able to address the thing with Andrew Wilson, right? And going deeper into it, man, I'm trying to tell you, just the data and statistics alone show that the countries that do recognize polygamy as a relationship style or marriage style have lower divorce rates, which equates to happiness. So that was his question. Now, my thing is this, right? When we talk about this and we talk about relationships, where do we go? You know what I mean? This is one of the most important things in anyone's life, right? What you do is you go out and you conquer earth, and you take control of the world, right? And you make yourself a successful person, a successful man, and you stay driven, you stay humble, you stay focused on your goals, and you lock in so much because you want to be able to have a family that you can provide for successfully. You want to have a family you can be able to take pride in and honor and say, hey, I'm the one who's providing, making the provisions and building with my family. Your career, your mission, your goal, your purpose, the most high, who your faith, all of that stuff comes first. The next thing is going to be family, y'all. And this is the reason why this is so important to discuss and talk about, because as the time goes on, as they say, Isaiah has stated, right, that there will be several women trying to take hold of one man. And yeah, it's going to come to pass where they're going to desire this more than men. They're going to desire this relationship style more than men. And they're going to seek out themselves righteous men they can be able to go up under. And us as men, we would have to learn as much as we can about this particular style relationship, right? Because it's going to become a wave of the future. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is that once men wake up and they mature and they grow some goddamn nuts and they actually, start stepping up and start saying, "Hey, this is who I am. This is the type of man that I am. This is what I see." Get your nuts out of her purse, man. Get your nuts out of her purse and let them know. Let her know. You shouldn't be, nervous about losing somebody or getting somebody to where they're not gonna be talking to you anymore, right? Okay, they're gonna stop talking to me if I tell them this. You just gotta kind of throw that aside. You gotta let that go, and you gotta live in what your truth is, because there's freedom in being honest, right? There's freedom, and then there's a happier style of relationship because you can be open and honest with that individual you're talking to. People you gotta hide shit from, it normally doesn't feel good to have to do so. You don't normally feel good having to hide things from somebody you're supposed to build a life with. You do not. It's not something that you should ever want to do. You shouldn't have a desire to hide anything from her, and she should not have the desire to hide anything from you. You know what I mean? So get your nuts out the purse. Get your nuts out the purse and start doing what you got to do and expressing the way that you need to express yourself, because it's going to become very important that you do moving forward, right? But also, of course, in doing this, you got to evaluate self. Where are you at in life? Where are you at to where you can be able to handle this style relationship? Anybody who I've seen, any man would have a level of stoicism to where he's able to control his emotions and not get too irate or too angry too soon. Like, he's able to control those things. He's able to hear things and have that emotional maturity, have that conflict resolution skills, right? He's not constantly bitching and moaning, complaining about little things. You know what I'm saying? Like, he works so based on solution based. Definitely can't be a coward, because there are people who will try you. There are people that will be, and not saying that it will be hostile, because it won't. But you got to be able to be lethal enough to meet any threat, right? Meaning you're working on self. You're in the gym. you're doing hand-to-hand combat, whether it be Muay Thai, boxing, jiu-jitsu, whatever it is, MMA. You're doing certain things like that. Not that that's a requirement, but you got to be a man who's capable of violence if you have to be violent, right? You got to be a man who's capable of it, because you're gonna have times where you have to protect you, not only yourself but your family as well. And that goes for people who's in polygyny, and that goes for people who's monogamy, right? And honestly, I truly do believe that if you wish to gain the kingdom, and if you wish to be accepted or received in heaven with the Most High, I don't believe that cowards will be received and accepted in men. Like, I don't believe that men who are cowards would be able to gain the kingdom. You know what I'm saying? So, if you feel as though certain things do intimidate you, because of course the Most High does not give us the spirit of fear, only of truth, of love, and a sound mind. He doesn't give us the spirit of fear. So fear is just a mirage. It's a thing that keeps you from being great. Is fear. Fear keeps you from being a better and a more productive and a great man. So overcoming and conquering fear is something that you always want to be on a mission to do whenever it's presented to you. If fear keeps you from starting a business, then you need to overcome that fear. You need to go out, you need to learn everything you need to learn about how to start you a business, how to get you off yourself off that 9 to 5 and in a spot to where you can be able to set your own schedule. You can make your own, and everything relies on you. See, now a lot of you work 9 to 5s right now. You literally can be let go at any point in time, just based on and handed a severance package, just based on you making too much money with the company, and they can probably get two or three of you package. Let them go ahead and kick rocks. Like, that literally could be your life. You could get a boss who may not like you and does everything he can to get rid of you. You know what I'm saying? So you want to find ways that you can rely on self to make income for yourself and your family. You know what I mean? To where you're producing for self and family, right? Um, and that would come from understanding how to build a proper business, right? Understand how to come up with a proper business plan, whether you pay somebody to do it or you do it yourself. So, but if fear keeps you from doing all of that, conquer your fear. Go ahead and go after it. You know what I mean? Scrap and call, get it done. You know what I mean? So, and just step out on leap of faith and be calculated about it, be wise about it, and get it done. You know, I believe that's what our job is as men. And based on the women who I talk to, right, and I discuss things with, I talk to them, and they bring up some really solid points to where, when they are addressing things, you got to understand, like, women are different creatures, right? They are different creatures, and they're made in the man's image. So, and and they mostly are made from flesh. So, and they're completely created from flesh, just based on the accounts in Genesis. So they're going to go based on how they feel a lot of the times, and then that spiritual guidance that they're always looking for from a man is because a man should be a spiritual leader. He should be a priest of his own home. He should be able to lead this woman into all things spiritual, right? Because they need that. A lot of them have a stronger connection with the Most High, a stronger bond with the Most High when their man is pursuing him relentlessly. When their man is spiritually connected and grounded in Yah, in the Most High. That's when they're able to really tap in to their spirituality. So when you're, as a man, pursuing relentlessly the Most High, then you, as a man, can be able to lead these women and in spirituality. And that's just flat out. Like David, being after Yah's own heart, being after the Most High's own heart. So those are things that you really need to consider. You know what I mean? Because, yeah, in this particular situation or relationship style, marriage style of multiple wives, you know, they will need all of that from you. You're gonna have to be a provider. You're gonna have to be, you know, stoic, dealing with different emotions, especially the tough ones, the ones who've been through some trauma in their life. You can't just be not empathetic. You know what I mean, to what their situation is. You got to show some empathy toward what they've been through, right? So you got to understand how to handle all of that emotion. You got to understand how to navigate both of them. Not that you got to compromise in any way. It's just, compromise is great. It's not required. But, you got to navigate their personalities to where you may be able to talk to her in a way as to where you can be very direct. But this other one, she might be a little more fragile. You might have to speak to her a little differently and always show love, right? Always show compassion. You know what I'm saying? When you can. So, but you're not going to be doing a whole lot of compromising. You're just going to be firm. You're going to be firm. You're going to be loving and compassionate, right? They're not going to always like the decisions that you make, right? You may not always make the right decisions, right? You might make some real bad decisions, but they got to be strong enough and committed enough to support you, even when you make some bad decisions, right? Even when you do, they gotta love you enough, support you enough to even support you in the bad decisions that you make. Knowing that you're a great man and that you can be able to recover, right? You can always bounce back from whatever situation you're put in. You're able to bounce back and make things happen. You know what I'm saying? You're not the type of man who's gonna sit there and mope about it, bitch about it, complain about it. Don't Ain't gonna bitch about it. You feel me? First Thessalonians, we're gonna praise the Most High in all things. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't have a spiritual connection, if you don't believe in the Most High, then honestly, that's where a lot of source of power comes from, is the belief in the higher power. It'll literally motivate men to conquer whole countries. You understand what I'm saying? The strength of Yah. So you might want to consider that, right? Consider that structure. Consider being structured in a way as to where this faith is going to provide you with morals, with values, with something to actually live for, things to instill in your children, right? So those are some of the things you got to always consider, right? Now, my thing is that when I put this thing together, I'm gonna put it together. We're gonna put it out. I'm out and about right now, so doing a little something something today. So hopefully, this upcoming week, I think tomorrow we're gonna be having um, Jamil Dunning's on. I'm gonna confirm that with him. Be sure that he's still ready to go. But we're gonna be talking about this a little bit more in depth, right? We're gonna go through this a little bit more in depth. We're gonna talk about it more, and we're gonna talk about the different laws that actually outlaw polygamy, that keep that particular marriage style from being able to thrive, right? And honestly, I promise you, it's because the governmental systems, right? The intergovernmental systems cannot handle polygyny families. Polygamous families, they cannot handle them. They grow too fast. They can't control them. It's a strong, typically a strong family unit is very difficult to defeat, right? It is. It's just difficult. You build very strong nations based on that type of marriage style. Like I said, all 12 tribes of Judah came from a polygamous marriage. And that was one of the most powerful nations at one point, right? So if I was the government, I would encourage monogamy, even though nobody's monogamous. Not one, like you have people who are committed and have been monogamous, hadn't slept with other people in their marriage. You do have those people, but there's very few in numbers. I promise you, very few in numbers. Very few. So if majority of everybody is truly polygyny or polygamous, but they claim to be monogamous, and then when you say, "Hey, I'm polygamous," and then I'm a polygynist, and they jump on you, start calling you all kind of different names, and start trying to say bad things about, of course, you want to commit whoredoms or whatever it may be. when they're truly the ones who are doing it. Like you're lying to your wife, saying that you're monogamous and that you're committed to her, when truly you got a couple side bitches, you got a couple side chicks over here, you got a couple sneaky links. You know what I'm saying? Like, you like to do this. This is what you do. You're undercover polygamous, and it's like, why do you need to discuss these things and talk about it like it's something that is just a sin? You know what I'm saying? Like something that's not permitted. Like the Most High didn't ordain that marriage style. Like the Most High didn't actually want people to practice that marriage style. That's what I'm confused by. I'm usually confused by that because, people be having a lot to say in the comment section. People be having all kind of crazy shit to say, and they be bashing women who decide they want to accept a man being a man. They decide to bash them. They decide to talk bad about them, and I'm confused about that too, because hey, ain't you supposed to be showing your sister some love? Like, what's up? Like, you gonna just bash her? You just gonna talk about her like a dog because she understands what the facts are, that a man is going to do what a man does, and that it's better that he don't lie to her while he's doing it. That's just the interesting thing, right? Or listen, I don't accept that, and I'm not going to allow any woman to bash another woman for deciding to be a submissive woman, right? They call them pick me's. Deciding to be a submissive woman and deciding to be a woman who is okay with a man expressing himself or being a man, right? And what he's biologically designed to be. Not only that, faith based, cultural based, things like that. I'm not finna accept a woman bashing another woman. You should be uplifting them. If anything, come from a position of compassion and love, and trying to, I guess, get your point across in a polite way. You ain't got to come for nobody, right? So that's the biggest thing right there, is that we make a determination, we make a decision, and we make a sound choice and decision, and we allow our spouse, we allow our wives to understand where we're coming from, to know, right, to communicate effectively, right? Because I don't think that men, honestly, we can be on here talking all day about the red pill community, and honestly, the wave of women bashing that comes from men, like, you can barely give a woman a compliment, right, without being called or labeled a simp. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing wrong with complimenting a woman. There's nothing wrong with complimenting her. Now, once you go start blowing bags on them and you're getting nothing in return, that's simp behavior, right? But if you're just making a compliment, you're not a simp. You know what I'm saying? But these guys, there's a wave of guys out here, red pill guys, whoever they are, who are bashing women just just to do it. You know what I mean? Just to do it. Not that, and think that women shouldn't have any sort of guys complimenting them in the open or doing anything without them taking some sort of offense to it. I just think that is ridiculous, right? Because if I feel like I want to compliment a woman, I'm going to compliment her, right? And the same thing with another man. Don't make him a simp, you know? So, but we got to really get a hang or a handle on understanding how to properly love women, right? And show them love. It's okay to show them brutal honesty, right? Because maybe some of them are delusional in thought. Maybe some of them believe that they are prize, And as I stated before, listen, if you're not a virgin woman, if you're not a virgin, you're not a prize. And that's just simple as that. If you're not a virgin, you are not the prize. Only virgin women are the prize. So if you want to be the prize woman, you want to make sure you keep your virginity. And the reason why I say this, here's the reason why. Virgin women are the prize because back in the day, men used to literally go to war to be able to marry a virgin woman, for her not to be defiled. Men went to war with other kingdoms just to have a virgin woman, not a woman who's been used, a virgin woman. Not a woman who's, been ran through, turned more times than a doorknob. A virgin woman. They went to war, literally killing each other for a virgin woman. That's why I'm saying a virgin woman is a prize. If you did not hang on to your virginity, you are not a prize. If you want to be a prize woman, keep yourself pure. Hang on to your virginity. Find you a righteous man who's going to commit to you and ain't going to use you and abuse you. I would say lean on your father if you have him in your life. Lean on your brother if you have him in your life, or lean on your mom to help find somebody that's a man to find you somebody who's worthy to cover you. If you want to be a prize, that's all I'm saying. Men are the prize ultimately. Men are the prize, and especially if you're not a virgin woman, a man is the prize ultimately because he's going to be the one that's going to provide for you. He's going to be the one to protect you when you need protection. He's going to be the one to keep you safe. He's, all of this, right? He's going to add that value. He's going to be your leader, your teacher, your provider, all these things. He's going to add that value to your life. If he's a good man, is a prize, and it's that simple. But a woman who's not a virgin can't even start to fix her lips to say she's a prize because she's not a virgin. you know, Virgin women are prizes, right? Real talk. And if she's not a virgin, you need to be very slow about how you move, just to understand where she's at, mentally, emotionally, physically, because the worst thing you can do is to get involved with a woman who may have past trauma and maybe has not moved past that trauma yet. So you got to see what you need to do to help this woman get past her trauma, if you can help her. If you can't, then you understand that you gotta take a few steps back. If she can help herself, that's even better, right? Because she can go seek her own, prayer, things like that, to get her heart right, get her soul together, to where she's fit to be in the same space or relationship with you. So this is the reason why all this work a man has to do and put up with is the reason why a man is the prize. A man having to provide, protect, all these things. He's the prize. Even for a virgin woman, a man still is the prize. But on a woman level, the virgin women are a prize, not women who are non-virgins. Typically, women who are non-virgins usually wound up, in sex work. Honestly, even back in, you go to scriptures, like, come on now, they were in that type of world. That's what they were having to do during that time. And that's just kind of flat out what it was. Is that they had to go into it. Women who are not virgin typically had to go into sex work, or they may have been a widow and then now they can be remarried back into another family. It all depends on what's going on, right? What the circumstances were. But virgin women were the prize. Like I said, you seen the movie Braveheart, right? Braveheart was started. Braveheart is a true story, of course. But the reason why they were really fighting was because they wanted that independence and freedom. Because the other kingdom was taking their women before the men were able to lay with them, and he was laying with them. He's taking their virginity, and so they started that war just based on the men wanting to have their women pure when they went into them. They wanted to have a virgin. You know what I'm saying? I want my wife to be a virgin when I marry her. I don't want her to have to be sent off to this other kingdom. Get the back blue out, get the buns beat, and then now they sending her back, and she's not a virgin anymore. I want that. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of the women would probably turn up pregnant, will come back with a baby. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? It's like, so now you're taking care of this other child that's coming from this guy who wasn't even supposed to have your wife in the first place. That's the reason why the war started. Virgin women are the prize. Men fought and died for virgin women. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it a buck. But women who are not virgins are not prizes, yo. That's not a prize for me. I don't want to, you know what I mean? Like, I, yeah, no, that's not a prize for me. So, but ultimately, that's what it is. Now, how we get over here? It's this conversation. I don't know how I got here, but either way. So I think we addressed enough of all of that, right? We beat it down. Like, honestly, tell you the truth, when we're getting into these type of conversations and topics, honestly, it's mostly geared towards the men, but also it's for the women too. I believe that men have lost the way when it comes to loving their wife, loving the woman. I understand we want to get her to submit, we want to get her to obey, but we also want to be sure that we're giving her some love, right? That we showing her love, that we, showing her some compassion and understanding. Because a lot of times women don't really understand a lot of things, and you got to really break it down to them and understand and have a little bit more patience, right? Be a little bit more patient, be a little bit more kind, right? And this is what certain women who ain't a problem. You know what I'm saying? You know how to identify a woman who would need this level of compassion. And women who are the right women are gonna appreciate what you're doing when you're showing them love, when you're showing them compassion and things like that. They're not gonna take your kindness for a weakness. And you can identify which women are taking your kindness for a weakness, and which ones, of course, are appreciating you for doing what you're doing. But you got to be careful, because some of these women, man, they'll take you through a ringer, and they don't want to be treated with all these things that I just said, right? They want to be treated like shit, and that's how they bond with you, is through trauma bonding. Don't deal with them. Steer clear away from them. Deal with the ones who have come healed, who are ready to rock and roll, who ready to come along with you in your journey and mission. And those are the women who we got to remind ourselves to continue to show love to, right? Because that's what our task was. Our task was to love our wife. You know what I'm saying? And the Most High would not have given us that task of loving our wife if he didn't think it would be a challenge, or if he didn't think it would be difficult. He gave it to us because he knew it would be difficult for us. You know what I'm saying? So uh let's not lose sight of that. We're gonna work on her submission. We're gonna work on her obedience. We're gonna work on her being cooperative in the home, but we're also going to show her an abundant amount of love, of understanding, of compassion. Just don't lose sight of any of that, you know. Now, my thing is this, right? We about almost an hour in on this conversation. Listen, anybody got any questions or anything? Anybody want to say anything? What's up? Drop something. What do you want to say? You want to drop something? Drop it in the comment section below. Any questions? Any thoughts? Any opinions? I'm opening the floor up right now for any of that. So we can be able to go ahead and address it. And yeah, so we can just talk about it. But for now, of course, we got the Anderson Wilson thing. This is a discussion on relationships. Typically, that's what Warsheep Podcast talks about, just relationships. Pretty soon, I'm gonna be talking about a few things when it comes to siblings, because me personally, I've had siblings, I got siblings, and the sibling rivalry is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, and finding out about it, that's another relationship style that people suffer from, that really we need to shed a little bit of light on, so people have an understanding that, hey, you ain't alone if you're dealing with siblings who are on this certain type of time where they seem they want to destroy your whole life. Bro, you're not alone. You know what I'm saying? So don't think that you're alone. There's people out here who's going through the same exact thing, myself included. So we're gonna have some discussions about that too. Right now, relationship styles, relationships, that's what we're gonna talk about. You know what I'm saying? Either way. So coming up soon, we're gonna have a couple people that's already gonna be on, who confirmed that they want to come on to discuss some things about relationship. We got another woman who's wanting to, I want to get her on an interview as well, because she speaks about and being an anti-feminist. And of course, feminism is one of the things that has contributed to the destruction of the nuclear family. Like, right, the so that's one of the things that has contributed to the destruction of it. A man and a woman creating and developing a strong family. And men wanting to marry, wanting to have a wife. You know what I mean? Going out here and desiring and seeking a wife is contributing to the destruction of that, right? Because you got women who believe in certain things that honestly don't have anything to do with being a feminist. You know what I'm saying? Like, who are having a mindset that is very destructive in nature, that shits on masculinity, right? Until they need you. You know what I mean? Like, and then they do it from the comfort of their own home, which was built by a man, inside of a studio, which was also built by a man, with camera equipment and also everything that they're using built by men. And they decide to bash men when we provided so much for them to be comfortable. And not only that, we will need to fight and die for their safety if something were to happen to this country. They're not going to want to go to war. They're going to want men to go to war, right? And you do have women who do want to enlist, but I don't really think they want to see battle. You know what I mean? And are they going to be as effective as a man would be on the battlefield? I would say no. I think a majority of women would say no. And there ain't no knock to women. Women are powerful in their own way. But when it comes to these things, you need to leave that to the men, because the men are the ones who are built and designed for it. Some things we just built for it. Same thing with when women say, "Hey, then why can't a woman have multiple men?" Well, you're just not built for it, baby. You're just not. You know, men are built to handle this type of thing. You're not built for that. So don't think that you're able to do it. It's not built for it. You know. So yeah, bro, funny he said that, but that's a lot of what we're experiencing right now and today. Things that we know for sure that we can be able to handle. A lot of it we can handle. A lot of it we can be able to take control of it, and we can be able to design a lot of manipulating the earth to be able to build and grow not only crops and vegetables and food, but also build homes, build, and it takes men a lot of the times to get this stuff done. So, like I said, men, we are good what we're good at, and women, you are good what you're good at. So we gotta play our positions. We can't. So this is the reason why I would love to bring her on for this interview so she can discuss a little bit more in depth, and they have some great conversations about it. And I'm gonna bring her on, and we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna bring a little bit more about of course, feminists and being anti-feminist and things like that, as to where I know that she wishes to bring on more men and for her discussions, but she majority time talks to just women. So yeah, we're gonna have a few people that's gonna come on and actually talk about a few things, giving you guys their perspective on what's happening with life, in life, things like that, right? Which is always great, because the more knowledge you receive, the more information you receive, the stronger you can be as a leader, as a provider of your own home, as a priest of your own home. The more sound decisions you can make, the stronger you'll be. This, that, and the third, so on and so forth. So we want to make sure that we strengthen you as much knowledge as possible, and we're going to be shedding all kind of light on everything, right? Because like the saying that I like to say from Malcolm X is, light creates understanding, or light creates understanding. Understanding creates love. Love creates patience, and patience creates unity. So we want to be sure that we're unifying. You know what I'm saying? That we're shedding that light on these topics and situations, so that everybody can have an understanding as to what this is. Because not a lot of people know what's going on, right? Not a lot of people know what it is. Not a lot of people are even conscious to what's going on in the world. A lot of people don't even know that Federal Reserve notes are just IOUs, are debt instruments. That's not even real money. It's just debt instruments is IOUs. And you gotta. And a lot of people don't know what fractional reserve banking is. A lot of people don't know what how powerful a trust could be for you and your polygynous family, right? You got a few wives and you got some children behind. Well, you should definitely have a trust. Why wouldn't you? You know what I'm saying? A trust is going to keep the government from siphoning money out of your estate if you're passed away. It's gonna keep the governmental institutions from taking over your estate and seizing any sort of assets from the people who actually deserve it. A trust will regulate all of that and keep everything in control. So you should definitely have a trust, even if you're not in a polygamous relationship, even if you are a single individual and you have a family, or if you're by yourself and you have assets, you should have a trust. Everybody should have you should have a trust set up. It's going to protect yourself and protect your family and give them instructions in case you're incapacitated, right? You don't need a will. A will is a terrible thing to have. You need to have a trust, right? A will give the government an opportunity to seize your assets and take some things from your loved ones. A trust does not give them any door or window to be able to have to do that. Um, so you want to learn a little bit more about trust in the state. So it's like we have to understand where we're at right now, currently, consciously, right? When we talk about when we talk about polygyny, we're talking about something that people still decides they don't want to accept. They want still want to outlaw. But Tom can go get married to Jeff. You know what I'm saying? Tom can go get married to Jeff, but but Jack can't have Jill and Janice. It makes no sense, right? Well, Tom, if he go gets married to Jeff, they not producing much of anything, right? They can't produce a bunch of children together. They can't do it. They're just physically not possible for them to do it together, right? So 9 times out of 10, they're sterile, right? Now we can be able to control that population. I mean, once we decide that we'll prefer to make our own decisions and to leave the government out of it, is the moment we're going to decide to to transition into maturity, to being more mature, to being more capable, right, of handling our own affairs and having a better understanding how if you're abiding by commercial law, then yeah, you might want to. It's outlawed. Polygyny is outlawed if you're abiding by commercial law. But if you're somebody who's a sovereign individual, or if you're operating in a lawful way, then of course it's not. You just form your own contracts and file them in the county. It's the same thing, right? And she wants to change her last name, she can do so. But you still have your contract with that individual recorded in the county as a legal binding contract, which is a marriage contract between yourself, her, and the Most High, not the state. Form your own contract, file it in the county. Wherever county you live in, go file it in the county. Same thing. It's literally the same thing. She got the same benefits. She can receive the same benefits according and pursuant to the contract that you have signed. If you got a 401k pension, she can be able to, have that as well based on the contractual agreement that's filed in the county. So, lawfully, yeah, you can do what you got to do. But if you want a marriage license, then no, you can't do any of this. None of this stuff is something that you can do because it's outlawed. And you're playing ball, right? You're playing by their rules, and they can have say. So you're married. Your marriage is between yourself, that woman, and the state, which who the state just replaced the Most High, right? I don't know what this account is. Deleted account. Talking about dad, but it's a deleted account. And either way, um, that's the biggest thing, right? And we're gonna continue to move. We're gonna continue to move forward with everything. So that's definitely what we have been wanting to. This is what I've been addressing or been wanting to address for a while. I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna create another. Uh, I'm gonna create another video that's going to compound, I guess, what I'm talking about here, and I'm going to add the other videos in there as well. And I'm just going to create one and go ahead and drop it and post it on the channel, so that way we can get everything in proper context. I'm gonna edit that thing up or whatnot. But I definitely want to drop this episode real quick. You know what I mean? I actually can bring some people in. Shoot, listen, if you still kicking it, let's see. Got live chat, top chat. Let's get it. But either way, I really appreciate y'all joining me today, right? Because it was a quick discussion on polygyny and also, of course, the relationship styles. You know how successful they are in different countries, right? This is an answer to Andrew Wilson. Honestly, tell you the truth, Andrew, like I said, I respect a lot of the opinions that you do have. One thing's for sure, you gotta stop smoking, dog. Like for real. If you're gonna be on there talking shit about OF models, but you still are smoking cigarettes, like yo, like don't be a hypocrite. Don't go based on hypocrisy, right? Because they're doing OF, you're smoking cigarettes, something that can cause cells to go cancerous, right? That could end your life or shorten your lifespan. That does has been proven to. Um, you need to quit smoking, bro. Like real talk. You need to put down the cigarettes and you need to be an example, right? Be a model example as to what you're doing. I guess everybody do have their vices. I guess yours is cigarettes. I don't know. Vices, whatever. You know what I mean? Like you need to put them cigarettes down, bro. You need to live a healthier lifestyle. Like don't you know what I mean? Don't go on there judging women about their life choices when you're choosing to smoke cigarettes on a day-to-day basis, right? Sometimes on live stream. So consider that, Andrew. Otherwise, respect your opinions on a lot of different topics. Stay away from polygamy because honestly, you got to be a little bit more well versed in that, and then you'll be straight. You'll be straight. Y'all got anything else, man? Drop it in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget that. All right. And what we're gonna do is continue to over here this on this forum on this love creates patience, and patience it creates unity. So let's be unified in the spirit, y'all. That's Malcolm X.